Hey everyone, in the last asymptote, we'll be looking at the oblique asymptote. Now, oblique asymptote is basically the two asymptotes that you see in your parabolas. So it's a linear line. Alright, as such, so there are two possible examples, and you've probably seen both in the hyperbolas. So you have the one with positive gradient, and you see another one with a negative gradient. Right, so let's say this y equals to nx plus d, you have n less than 0. So what does oblique asymptote mean? Alright, what's the definition? Again, very similar to a horizontal asymptote, as x approaches either infinity or negative infinity, or I see n/or, your y now follows the linear graph. Y approaches the graph of mx plus c, which means y is not exactly a linear graph, but it is very incredibly similar to a linear graph. As such, your y would get very close to a linear graph, right? To a linear graph, and hence close to the oblique asymptote. Alright, so the examples that you see in H2 Math syllabus that has a oblique asymptote are of the form of your algebraic fractions. Alright, where let's say you have qx over hx, where q and h are polynomials. Alright, and well, mainly h, degree of h is less than, the degree of h is either 1 or 2, that means it's either quadratic or linear, and then you get the form of basically a linear graph, mx plus c, plus a constant over either a polynomial of quadratic or linear. Alright, so this is the idea where you have mx plus c plus k over hx, where again h is either quadratic or linear. Okay, now it's the same idea because hx is either quadratic or linear. As x approaches infinity or negative infinity, your graph would end up approaching mx plus c. Alright, so that's why you would have the asymptotes mx plus c. So let's say you have one oblique asymptote, unlike the hyperbola, which you have two. So your graph will look something, let's say, like this. So obviously, because hx is a quadratic or linear, it is likely to have a vertical asymptote, and you'll probably look something like this. Alright, again, here's just one example. As you can tell, I get very close to the asymptotes, obviously not the top, so let me adjust that. So let's say something like this. Alright, so this is one particular example of oblique asymptotes, and it mainly comes from this. Alright, qx over hx, where q and x are polynomials, where q is degree 1, 2, 3. Obviously, it really depends, but always be lookout of the form mx plus c over khx. Alright, so this is the third asymptote, and it's the last asymptote in the H2 Math syllabus. So yeah, we're finally done with asymptotes.